On this exact day, March 31st, 2016, my six-figure oil and gas business development job went away. It went away. Could you imagine that March 31st, 2016, I received a text message from our HR director telling me to meet her into my office, which was in Houston, which meant she had to fly here, y'all, from Dallas, which was very odd. Like, she's HR. Why would she be flying from Houston to Dallas? And that year it was on a Thursday. I had requested that Friday off. Hadn't heard from my boss. He didn't show up to our weekly conference call. He wasn't responding to any of my emails. So I was already feeling weird that week anyway. But I got a calendar meeting request for 11 o'clock a.m. on March 31st, 2016. I called my husband and I was like, babe, I think I'm losing my job today. He was like, nah, you ain't losing your job today. He was like, babe, when I was at the Christmas party, everybody was so excited about all the accomplishments and things you have been achieving in the company. Super proud of you. They were talking about the future of you with I'm like, babe, I think I'm losing my job today. I just got a text message and an invitation from HR to meet her in my office. And she told me to bring all my work supplies. Like, what does that mean? And I remember responding back and I was like, so is today my last day? Because I needed to know how much of their stuff I needed to bring. And I never got a response. So just to be on the safe side, I went back home and I made sure I got everything. Laptop, phones, the iPad, made sure, well, I always kept my company credit cards with me anyway, but just the things. So I meet in the office and she's sitting there looking all somber and like, that little pitiful look. She know what's about to come. I know what's about to happen. It's the last day of the month, the last day of the first quarter. I know what's up. So I'm going in there being who I normally am. Sat down. Hey, good morning. How are you? And so she was like, listen, you text me and you asked if today was your last day. And unfortunately for you, it is. And I was like, unfortunate for who? You know what I'm saying? Because this exact day I was paid. And ironically, I'm getting paid today again. But anyways, in my business paid me twice. I earned my director bonus and I also earned my weekly check. That date fell on a Thursday in 2016 and y'all can go and fact check me, okay? So she basically told me in less than 3 minutes I did absolutely nothing wrong, which I knew that I have never been written up in all the years I worked with the company. She said that the company was going a different direction and unfortunately that eliminated my job position. She then handed over some paperwork. I always signed or would sign not non-compete because I never would sign a non-compete. Simply because I worked in a sales role, business development, oil and gas, and your jobs come and go in that industry. And I needed to be able to float around. And some of those clauses, like you could lose your job, but you can't work in the industry for a year, 2 years. So I knew I had those types of paperwork to sign or release myself, right? So what she said was, which was very interesting, we're giving you 3 months severance. And so I'm over here reading. She was like, oh, yeah, it's just itemizing what's included in your severance. So I would start laughing. If y'all know me, okay. So I'm over here reading and then I just like chuckled. And so she was like, everything okay? I was like, I'm looking for the gift. I don't see any gifts. I see my income that I would have earned if I would have continued working for the next 3 months anyway. And she was like, yes, that's the severance. What? So as I'm packing up my office, because, mind you, she would have told me the day before, that today was going to be my last day. I could have went in, had everything packed up, had a totally empty office. It could have been a smooth transition. I could have went and ate lunch with my husband. She really didn't even have to fly in to fire me. I mean, I have integrity. They definitely could have just let me know. I could have mailed them a box filled with their stuff. But anyway, she was getting annoyed because I like to decorate. You know what I'm saying? So I was in my office and I was making sure I took down my photos, my pictures, my clock, all my little stuff, my little gadgets, my little desk supplies. And she had a flight to catch to get back to Dallas. Again, if they would have told me the day before, I would have had all this stuff packed up. It would have been an easy transition. Tell me what you got to tell me. I'll sign what I have to sign and you can get on back. But I was definitely taking my time. I didn't want to break my stuff. Right. So as I was packing, I had a Vistaprint box, and our business cards with my job was also created by Vistaprint, as well as my travel business cards. And so she was like, whoa, you can't take that, because she's literally, y'all, watching me like a hawk as I'm packing up my office. So I was like, why not? She was like, well, those belong to us. And I was like, not these. Why am I so goofy? So she was looking at me and she was like, well, yes, the business cards. So I opened up my box, took out my business card, and I was like, no, ma'am, not these. And I said, well, you can have one if you want one, but these belong to me. And she was reading it and she was like, you own a travel business? I was like, yes. I said, actually, I've owned a travel business for a couple years now. And I was like, that's probably why I'm so happy that this day has come, because now I'm just going to focus on my travel business. And y'all, she had the most dumbfounded look on her face. Most people that sat in a position that I sat, earning six figures, traveling the world, pretty much at the top of your career, crying, devastated, disgusted. But I didn't lose my job like everybody else. I didn't lose my job without a plan B already in place. And like I said, I got paid on the day that I was laid off from my corporate job. I was so happy, y'all. And honestly, I had never lost a job where I had that kind of joy. It was usually the tears, the disappointment, the disgust. Even if when they say, well, it's a business decision, you know you didn't do anything wrong, it still felt wrong. Because when you work jobs, especially if you work the way I work, like some of y'all be at work playing, but I really worked my job. I always took great pride in what I did. I showed up when they asked me. I trained people that I didn't have to train. I would take on projects that was not in my scope of business, right? I agreed to work 40 hours a week, but when you included dinners, lunches, travel time, I was averaging about 60 to 70 hours a week. I was watching my babies grow up on FaceTime from my babysitter from when I'm traveling on unnecessary business trips too, by the way. Being a woman in a male-dominated industry, I saw a lot of stuff that I would like, I really need to get out of this, right? Most of those men that are traveling, okay, I ain't trying to put y'all men out there like that, but a lot of those men in the oil industry wanted to be away from their wives. They wanted to be away from their families. They were out there cheating on their wives and doing things they had no business doing on the road. So they found reasons to be away. I'm like, I would ask questions. Do I have to be there physically? Can we not do this on Skype? Which was a very common way that business professionals were hosting meetings. I mean, you're talking about, we would even have Skype rooms in our building so that you can be virtually there. See, I've always been that virtual girl, right? They're like, no, you need to be there. The pipeline conferences and conventions, nothing but parties, y'all. I mean, of course, you talk a little bit of business, but everything else is all about the turn up. And I'm like, I would much rather be turning up at home with my husband and my kids. So I was already feeling that burnout. I was already looking for a way to get my time back, but I didn't want to sacrifice my income for it. I was not earning six figures in my business on that day that I was laid off, but I saw the potential to be able to increase the income that I was earning, a few $1,000s part-time. You guys, I knew that if I was able to give a full-time effort and commit and be disciplined just like I had my corporate career, that I would be able to create a six-figure income in my own business. I called my husband excited. He was so confused. And I'm like, yep, babe, I lost my job today. And he was like, are you okay? He was so confused. I'm telling y'all, I had lost positions before. I worked in the oil industry. Okay. And I was like, yes. I was like, babe, guess what? My business paid me twice today. I don't want to update my resume. I don't want to go back and interview for somebody else. I just want to be at home. I want to be at home with the babies, be a full-time mom, and run my business. And my husband, being the amazing man that he is, he was like, baby, I got you. You don't have to go back to work. Y'all, relief. Some of y'all are working a business, or let me say, some of you guys have invested in a business, a side business, but you're not working. You're not prepared for if that day were to come. If today, being the last day of the first quarter, the last day of the month, a Monday, right? I've known people to lose their jobs on a Monday. Like, you didn't know Friday that you was going to take this job away. Like, you let me have my whole weekend and already not want to come to work on a Monday to let me go. Yeah. But just think about that. Some of you guys are not positioned with the plan B, and you are literally putting all your eggs in a basket that you don't even control, right? Be grateful for your job. Yes. Work your job. Absolutely. But you definitely need a business and income that you can control in addition to your job. There's a lot of talk about thousands of jobs being taken away. And the panic is coming from the people who aren't prepared to lose those jobs. Who knew that as an entrepreneur, I could earn over $300,000 a year? I knew that if I would have worked, okay, so it's 9 years since I lost my job, right? If I would have updated my resume, sat through interviews with total strangers, allowed them to tell me how much they were going to pay me per year, allowed them to tell me how much vacation time I would have, allowed them to determine if I could get a pay increase or not, allowed them to rate me in a job performance evaluation. Y'all know how the jobs go, right? Just say that 9 years later, I'm still on that job wouldn't be paying me what I'm earning right now in my own business. I know for a fact. If the job that laid me off would not have laid me off 9 years later, I would not be earning the income that I'm earning right now. Ask yourself now if the job that you're working, if your income would increase every single year, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. 1 year, my income increased by over $80,000. That would have never been available to me as an option on my job, right? So I want you guys to stop being stuck. Stop choosing to live paycheck to paycheck. Stop choosing to give someone else more with a job that you can't control, and stop denying yourselves a level of success that you actually deserve in this life, right? Take the skills that you have that you have learned from being an amazing employee and turn that into your entrepreneur superpower.